Minnesota is the only state that regulates what is a federally non-regulated industry. Now, to be honest, for a year and a half, that licensing was suspended because it was being challenged. The constitutionality of it was being challenged. And although we kept our bond in place, the licensing was suspended. And I was contemplating figuring that it would get just ignored and they're going to let it go because, they're just going to abolish the regulation because Minnesota is the only state that does it. I was going to move my corporate office down to Florida, where I am, to where our satellite office is. It would have saved me money and aggravation. That's why I left the state of Minnesota, for the aggravation that goes with the way that their political system is. Anyways, they have since reestablished the licensing. So in an industry that is federally non-regulated, that allows literally, as far as I'm concerned, criminal enterprises like these companies, and they are flat out criminal. They know exactly what they're doing and they're stealing from people. It's some of the worst stuff I've ever seen. It took on a life of its own when I started talking about it. And they all do the same thing. Quarter-ounce gold coins typically from mints that you've heard of. You won't find designs like that on any website. They'll say they're premium coins or special coins. The rich people are doing it, which is the furthest thing from the truth. They're limited edition. They'll say it's because these mints allow you to buy a die as long as it doesn't compete with what they're doing, and nothing that they would ever. You can't do a Canadian maple leaf die, but you could do a Canadian buffalo. They don't make the buffalo gold coins. Well, we have the rare Canadian buffalo. That's because they allow you, if you buy enough of them, to make something that no one else, or that they don't make, and you get a proprietary use of it. You're the only one who has it. In essence, you're calling something special that really isn't special, because when the other dealers get it, they don't want it. It has no liquidity. No one buys it, so it sits on their shelf forever, earning nothing but dust. The cost of carry means that they'll pay you 99% of melt value and melt it down because no one wants it. Not to mention the prices that they're paying are massively higher than what you can buy one quarter-ounce gold eagle for.
Imagine paying $60 to $100+ per ounce above spot price, or even 100% or more markup on nuanced fractional coins. Many dealers make massive profits, contrasted with reputable dealers who may earn only 2 to 3% margins on larger orders. This grave disparity signals predatory business models. Money-focused reporting today flags this as a core red flag in bullion fraud. Excessive premiums indicate exploitation, not craftsmanship. The industry's pulse shows that thick margins are often a warning, not a warranty.
The reason I mention it is that the MO is the same with about the dozen companies that do it. For some reason, they're quarter-ounce gold coins that would be sold between $1,100 and $1,500 right now. They're fractional silver coins from 3/4 of an ounce to 1.5 that some of them are 1 ounce, and they'll tell them they're premium coins. No, they're really not, and they're usually priced between $60 and $100+ over per ounce. These companies are making 100% plus profit. We make 2 or 3% profit at most, and usually on larger orders less. And so it's beyond horrible. And as an aside, and when you're trying to decide, by the way, most of those paid spokesmen have no idea this is going on because they just get paid. Maybe they get to buy gold eagles at cost. Whatever it is, they don't know, and they're not spending the time, nor are their publicists looking into this. I know this for a fact, and I spoke with one of these publicists who I've opened the eyes of one or two of them who have contacted me, and I said, look, you don't have to tell me the company, but I'll tell you the MO, and they freak out. They're like, oh my God, how did you know that? Well, because I know. Anyways, the bottom line is that, so one of the things that differentiate a company like ours from everyone else is that Minnesota is the only state that regulates what is a federally non-regulated industry. Now, to be honest, for a year and a half, that licensing was suspended because it was being challenged. The constitutionality of it was being challenged. And although we kept our bond in place, the licensing was suspended. And I was contemplating figuring that it would get just ignored and they're going to let it go because, they're just going to abolish the regulation because Minnesota is the only state that does it. I was going to move my corporate office down to Florida, where I am, to where our satellite office is. It would have saved me money and aggravation. That's why I left the state of Minnesota, for the aggravation that goes with the way that their political system is. Anyways, they have since reestablished the licensing. So in an industry that is federally non-regulated, that allows literally, as far as I'm concerned, criminal enterprises like these companies, and they are flat out criminal. They know exactly what they're doing, and they're stealing from people.
Older investors, especially those moving IRA funds into gold, are frequent targets. Aggressive marketing exploits fears, lost purchasing power, economic volatility, while advertisers downplay the risks of illiquidity and overpricing. Law enforcement, including the FBI, has issued advisories to watch for such schemes, urging vigilance among seniors and collectors. And the Minnesota Attorney General's office warns about fear, intimidation, and technical jargon used by dubious dealers to sway decisions. The pattern is clear. Emotional pressure meets financial opacity, and the buyer often pays dearly.
But it's federally non-regulated, so there's no FINRA type regulation. There's no insurance industry type regulation that sets a playing field and sets limits on what markups can be. Well, Minnesota doesn't play that way, and so virtually every single company in America will boycott the state of Minnesota the way they did when the licensing was in force. Because why would you want to do business into a state where you have to be subservient to the Commissioner of Commerce with a whole lengthy list of regulations? You have to take continuing education and compliance, and one of your sons is actually the star of our compliance classes, and he reads the questions. He's fantastic with different voices every time. So you know what I'm talking about. And then the bond, the very, very big bond, where it's you have to post it and personally guarantee it by the owners of the company. There's none of these companies will do business in Minnesota. It holds us to a higher set of standards. So we're licensed, we're bonded, we're background checked. None of these companies will do it. And these are the big ones that are spending a fortune to advertise on TV and paying a fortune. Now, I can say this only because I've been on Mike Adams' show a few times. Mike's been on your show. And Mike has mentioned this on his show, that he was offered $1 million by one of these companies to do just that.
Minnesota stood out as the only state to enact specific regulation of bullion coin dealers, imposing registration, bonding, background checks, and compliance training, measures that elevated accountability in this otherwise unregulated market. However, in 2022, the Eighth Circuit struck down the statute as violating the Commerce Clause. Since then, licensing has resumed under revised procedures, controversial but essential for consumer protection. This legislative journey underscores how oversight can curb predatory practices, but also how regulatory burdens can drive dealers to boycott the state rather than comply.
Now, I mean, come on, $1 million, really? So that company that he mentioned has several other high-profile people that I know of, one of which is a friend of mine, was offered $40,000 a month. So when you talk about the amount of money that this company is offering people like Mike and this other gentleman, who I don't have the permission to mention his name, but you'd all know his name. The reason that, you're getting all of these promotions is people think, wow, must be a very profitable industry, and why not? I believe in gold, and so they endorse it. But the truth of the matter is that amount of money, the markups in this industry are on par with a grocery chain. I mean, you don't make much in the way of markups. And this is why these companies are the way they are. They're predatory. They work on typically older demographics. They work with IRAs, something you're not looking at every day. And they're telling people delusions of grandeur. And we're promoted and recommended by, A, B, and C. We have to be good. And by the time people figure it out, the majority of them, some of them pass away. It's IRAs. Some of them never look at it. And the ones that do, they appease them so they don't drink their own bathwater. But I'll simply tell you this, that if you've fallen into this category of either really high-priced proof coins, much, much higher than what you can buy the regular gold eagle for, or the regular silver eagle for, or regular Canadian maple leaf, and or quarter ounce gold coins. Don't ask me why they're all quarter, but they are. Or fractional silver coins. Those quarter ounce coins will be between $950 and $1,500. You've paid way too much.
To protect yourself, always compare prices to bullion spot values. Avoid vague exclusive coins, especially without transparent buyback terms. Favor recognizable bullion like American Gold Eagles, Canadian Maple Leafs, Austrian Philharmonics, items whose value tracks metal content, not hype. Inspect certifications, ask about return policies, and use reputable exchange platforms or associations like ANA, PNG, or BBB. Sources like Money and Coin Week instruct that excessive premiums, high-pressure sales, and opaque descriptions are consistent warning signs. Investors deserve clarity, not just shiny packaging.
Silver coins between 60 and 120 an ounce, you've paid way too much, 3 to 4 times. So that's what we've done, and we've helped a lot of people. And I try and take the higher road and not throw these companies under the bus, which would be very easy for me to do right here, right now, and to show with names redacted, invoices that would blow your mind. Instead, I just simply say, they all do the same thing for some strange reason. And I'm sure there's some commonality in reasoning behind it, or maybe even an origin where these companies all come from. But it's worse than I'm painting it out to be, and worse than you painted it out to be. I've seen people's lives destroyed. I've seen 85-year-old men cry to me that I'm going to be divorced by tomorrow morning when my wife figures this out. I've seen people's lives literally upended by these companies who have little or no remorse or soul. And I don't know, karma to me is a very deep thing, and deeper than I think the word explains. And what goes around comes around. But I don't know how these people look in the mirror or look at their mom and dad in the face, knowing that, you know, this could be my mom and dad who you're screwing for the rest of their lives. And it's that bad. So I don't know if you intended for me to go this deep down that rabbit hole, but it's something that I'm very passionate about. And if you have been tied up in this, reach out to us. Don't be embarrassed. There's no shame in this. These people are professional con artists, and we're happy to help you, give you an appraisal of what you can do if you decide you want to do it, give you a roadmap to getting back to where you should be, and answer your questions with no obligation. We don't expect anything for it, and we're happy to help any way we can.
For those who found themselves overcharged or trapped in illiquid investments, you're not alone, and it's not your fault. Reach out for no-obligation appraisals or redemption pathways. Many self-described fraud experts and consumer advocacy outlets offer guidance. Connect with them. Document your transfers, ask for itemized invoices, and compare melt value to purchase price. With informed action, you can recover value or plan corrective steps. The goal: empower investors, restore financial peace of mind, and encourage transparency in precious metal markets.
A lot of these elderly folks say to me throughout the years, yeah, you know, I just want to leave this for my kids so they have something. I'm not going to need it. And so they don't even look at it. And, oh, well, they told me 5 years. Well, one of them says 3 years. And one of the clients that we were talking to recently tried to get out and held their feet to the fire. And their supposed 3-year price, which was 40 days from now, was so much higher, supposedly, which in essence, they're just saying that to get out of hot water. The difference between what they'd pay them today versus 40 days from now is night and day. Now explain that crap to me. So in essence, it's all a big fugazi. It's all a big con game, and a shame on these people, and shame on, there not being any oversight into these companies. That's the reason why, even to my own detriment, financially, and really just so much more difficult to have an office in Minnesota because of all of this. But it does hold us to a higher standard. Don't take my word for it. Take the state of Minnesota, our license, our bond, our background checks. If any one of us who represent Miles Franklin have had a felony related to financial services, you're out forever. You're disqualified. So it represents, I think, a much more even playing field in what is a federally non-regulated industry. And some of these people have found out a way to, in essence, victimize with a smile on their face to a tune of unimaginable proportions. I mean, the stuff I've seen, I can't even begin to tell you. So glad you brought it up. It's worth being redundant about. If we help one extra person, it's a good thing.